I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Minutes are recorded to aid in their preparation. Approval of the minutes for December 2nd.
I make a motion that the minutes be approved, subject to the changes that I gave Susan this evening. Nothing major, just a couple odds and ends.
I got the wrong motion, whoever made the motion or the second. I got names reversed.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Visitors.
You're looking at them.
Do you want to speak now or hold your peace till later?
Whatever you would like.
Do her now?
Why don't we do it now?
Okay.
Okay? We'll just, all right, I'm assuming you're going to want us to look at this memorandum?
Well, we supplied it to you as we promised. You don't really need to read it and discuss it tonight. We just wanted you to have it. The summary says that everything is working and passed all the tests required. We're continuing to feel our way through everything and get familiar with everything. And at the end of the second page, I think it's something that Chairman Holman had said earlier that perhaps we could get together and discuss these items. We think that would be an excellent thing to do if you would like to at your leisure, or form a committee to do that if you don't want to all do it, or however you would like to do it. I mean, being on paper, some probably are confusing to some of you. Some, I'm sure, like Sam's, a lot more familiar.
In regards to the authority, probably something that I think it would probably be good for all the members if we can pull it off and everybody's in agreement, would be to say we pick a plant or something like that, and maybe have I don't know, I guess you'd want to call it a work day, that for some things down there that we think we could tweak and do as a team for just a little bit, one afternoon or something like that, pick one each year, you know what I'm saying? Not to say that we get everything, but it gives everybody on the board a chance to get their hands involved in it and think about the complex themselves.
We're open to that.
You know what I'm saying? It'd be like a Saturday. You know, you pick a Saturday morning, spend 4 hours doing something. Like I said, I'm seeing some things in here.
This summer.
Yeah, during the summer.
Oh,
You know what I'm
good.
trying to say? You know, there's.
A lot of the things that are on here are things that need to be addressed. We anticipated that there are a number of them that we would just do with our own forces. They might be a time and materials thing, but they wouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but we've got to investigate the electrical stuff, right? You know, the low lighting, the outdoor receptacles, those sorts of things. Painting and repairing that front door. Obviously, we're not going to paint it now, but we got to get. There's a sweep on the bottom.
But I mean, that's stuff like if we could get the stuff, we could be down there and do that on a Saturday while somebody else is weed whipping around the outside parameters and trimming the brush back and just some small detail things like that our normal mowing don't take care of and stuff like that. Simple stuff. I'm not saying we're going to do any serious nuts and bolts of it, but it's, you know what I'm trying to say? I don't know if that's possible, you know. Just a suggestion, okay?
We can certainly do that. These are more a list of things that should be addressed by us or someone else, electrical problems, different things. The samplers, some of the lab equipment that we did say we'd come back to you with, and we're more than happy to sit down with a couple people and go over that type of thing,
Yeah.
you know, as soon as we could, so you could digest that and look at some of the numbers that we would have to come up with.
Is there a cost associated with all this right now, or you don't?
We
At
do
this
not.
point, we simply provided a prioritized list as we see it now, of things that needed to be addressed. Some are really much more important than others. You know, some that have to do with making sure that the diffusers are up and working. You know, for example, the aerobic digester on train 2, the new train at Cove. You know, there's a series of diffusers on the bottom of those tanks. Well, there's so much debris and material in there that basically it's operating as a septic tank. It's really not aerobic. That thing we need to dewater that, get sediment out of there, make sure the diffusers function properly, that we can deliver sufficient air to keep the thing functioning properly.
Do you think that's probably some of the other issue?
That's probably a good deal of it.
I was thinking you folks last night come up to about 9 o'clock.
So in other words, the sludge needs to be pumped out of it? Is that what you're
Well,
telling
we
us?
need to, in a number of the tanks, we need to dewater the tanks, get down there, get the sediment out of it, remove rags from
Yeah, we
the
need to get in there.
diffusers, check the diffusers, make sure they're still intact, they
Would-
function correctly.
In other words, what you're saying is, would we want to do that during low flow times, such as summertime when school's out?
That certainly would be helpful,
Is that the ideology?
but if we're doing it, let's say in an aerobic digester, we need to remove solids anyway.
Mhm.
We can do that just about any time that it's not freezing. So
Well,
if
we
we
have
get a
what,
break in
two-
the weather, we can do that.
There's 2 trains down there, right? We could close one down,
Yeah.
right?
Well, you really only need to isolate the one digester, and we need to have it pumped out, we need to get in there, we need to get rid of debris. Like Jim said, we need to take apart the diffuser. There's 6 diffusers in that tank. Only
Is it-
one is working.
New one or the old one?
This
The
is
new
the
one.
new one.
It's the new one,
Yeah.
okay.
And that's something that can, like Jim said, can be done any time of the year. It's actually probably better when it's cooler because it wouldn't smell as bad.
And the other thing, this is not a tank that's in the path of flow.
Right.
This is a tank where you put material that you're removing from the system to stabilize it and haul it out.
Mhm.
So it's not in the flow path. So, you know, we can dewater that thing, get it down, but it needs to be done. And we need to make sure that we're delivering sufficient air to that tank to make sure that it functions as an aerobic process, not an anaerobic process.
You have $6,000 that was put in the budget for that, because before Ed left, he had talked about how the debris needs to be cleaned out of King Cor and Cove.
So I'm gonna say the board can probably even make a decision on that right now, if that's a priority 1 here. Let's put it this way, do we wanna discuss all the priority 1 ones at the immediate moment? Let's just go over them, okay? We'll go over them, and we'll either say, yes, we can start doing them, or no, we'll table and discuss them a little further, okay?
There-
Would that be fair?
Sure, well, that is one that needs to be done, because I think we think that is an important aspect of trying to, A, reduce the odor problems, and B, make sure that that aspect
Okay,
of the
let's-
treatment
let's-
process functions correctly.
Let's start up at the top here on the priority 1.
You just want to go down through them, and I'll try to tell you what we're
Yep,
looking
start
at.
with the first one up there.
Okay, the first one is at Cove. Repair or replace treatment train 2 equalization pump alternator relay. And we're not sure what's going on there. That was one that, Sam, you may remember, Ed had taken apart. Since then, we've gotten it back together, and both pumps work. There's 2 pumps in there, but it will not alternate, which is not a good thing.
Yeah,
So
there's a set of floats, and it should trigger to alternate to
Each
even
time.
wear out on the pumps.
Yep, understand
over
that.
the course of time.
that could be rather inexpensive, or it could be an electrical component that needs to be replaced, or bring an electrician in. We're not sure, because we can't get it to work right now. We would like to go in and do a little bit more work on that in depth to find out what's wrong with it. Okay?
On the scale of cost things, that's a very small thing.
Yeah, not, could be 100, could be several hundred, but not real expensive.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you can imagine what electrical components
Mm-hmm.
could be. Okay, well, we just mildly touched on the second one. And the reason for that is because there's 6 diffusers, only one is functioning. That's where a lot of that septic smell that drifts down to 15 comes from, or 11 and 15, and that's rather important. And that needs, what needs to happen is we need to get a hauler in, we need to remove that material, the debris, and we need to physically get down in there, remove rags, and check each individual diffuser, and then put it back in service. The largest cost there would have the hauler to drain that down. It needs to be taken out anyway on a regular basis. This would just be a little bit more at once. So when that's taken down, that would just save in the next months to come. So it's not wasted money. Okay. The next one, purchase and install flow proportional influent composite samplers suited for outdoor use. We spread these out across here. There's 3. You would need 3 samplers. We brought that up. One for the influent cove, one for the effluent cove, and one for the effluent at Kincora. Now we spread them out so that it wasn't so much. They're, you know, the cost, they make all different types, okay? But when you're putting them out there, you don't want to buy a piece of junk, or they're not.
Okay,
gonna
so
last.
you're saying we can buy, would these all be identical sampler?
We would recommend
We
they
would
all be the same.
recommend that.
Okay, so they're,
But
so when
you-
you gotta repair parts, you got one set of parts for all of them.
Exactly,
Okay? That's what I was getting at, that's the
So
first
you
thing
can
I'm
buy
concerned.
one at a time, you can buy 3 at a time. You know,
What is their failure rate?
They're generally pretty long-lived.
they live a long
What about
time.
consumables?
5-10 years. Well, the thing that's going to wear the most, typically they have, a peristaltic pump in them, a hose pump, and periodically you have to replace the pump because it fatigues over time. If you don't replace it soon enough, it'll crack and fail. They're little check valves.
Yep, understand what
That's
you're
about
saying.
it.
I've been around them that they have 10 years of service and never did anything other than replacing that wear part, that hose. I'll keep going. Repair and repaint the entrance door. That's, there's a hole at the bottom, and we found some mice decided to live in there. We'd like to at least.
pets?
Well, we would
should
like
do
to
what
at
you
least
say.
do that's a couple $2 to put that piece on.
Yeah, we're just going to.
We'll get to the painting and things in the summer. There's a bunch of items that should be, painted.
You saying about putting a stainless steel splash guard or something on that is what you're kind of
A
thinking?
sweep at the
Sweep at
outside,
the
yeah.
bottom.
Yeah, because
There's a
it's,
sweep there, but
there's
it's
a gap and
damaged.
the little creatures are coming in.
Go ahead, keep going here.
Okay, the next one is we talked about lab equipment. We're using some of our lab equipment, our surplus stuff. Moving the stuff around is really not a good idea, traveling with that type of equipment, which I told one of my partners today, this one, but I didn't tell him yet, that I broke a $150 pH probe today in the coal. It's because I'm putting it in, sorry about that, Jim. It's only a third of yours.
I feel better.
We would like to discuss, purchasing some of that equipment, if not all.
Well, let's do some of the. There was a lot of equipment at the plant, at the Cove plant, in the laboratory when we took it over. Now, a lot of it was in a state of long-term disrepair and had just deteriorated to the point where it was junk. There is a pH meter there, and we went online and got the manual for it because there was no information here. And we suspect that if we can get a temperature compensation probe to couple that with the pH probe that's on it, that we should be able to use that. So bringing that unit up to snuff may be a fairly low-cost thing. We just getting a temperature compensation probe to connect to it so we can use it.
Couple hundred versus 1,500.
Understand, yeah.
And that would be the same with the chlorine analyzer. We did find a DO meter that we put back in service. We cleaned it up, calibrated, and it's working fine. So you don't need one of those. Let's see. Go to the next one. The next item is just on there, we're gonna do that, that's in our contract to provide the labor for that, but you'll be buying all the belts and
Yeah,
things,
that's not,
okay?
that's
So
not an
we-
issue,
okay.
that, as far as
That's
I'm
not a
concerned,
labor cost to you, that's in our contract.
Yeah,
make sure you got an extra set if you need them, and,
Right,
you know.
what we'd like to do is get on a schedule where, you know, as with changing the oils in these things, they're done on a, you know, quarterly or
Understand.
semi-annual basis.
Yep.
We'd like to just replace those belts once every year or 2 years, whatever it is. Worked for the university, Penn State, and we relamped the Forum building. I don't know if you're familiar with the Forum building. It's a big 1,600 seat, 4 classroom set of theaters. And every 2 years, you just went in and took all the lamps out, put all new ones in.
The next item is Kincora, is the same, it's the pH meter, a chlorine analyzer, and a DO meter there. There was no DO meter there, we're using one of ours. The next one is to repair the final clarifier effluent weir. Now, if you don't know what that is, some of you, that's where the water, the treated water pours into a stainless steel or aluminum, I think in this case, which may be the problem. It's deteriorating, it has several holes in it, which,
The weir itself,
The
is
weir
it a
is-
replaceable weir, or is it a,
I would say that would probably have to be custom made.
Yeah.
Because they just don't make an item like that.
But we could repair it.
We think we can repair it inexpensively with a stainless steel patch, is what we'd like to do, because it definitely needs to be repaired.
Okay.
It's, it has figured out a way to do it, and it's working. It has a piece of styrofoam stuffed in it. We don't know if that's the best thing to do right now, but it works. It's,
We accidentally dislodged the
Yeah.
styrofoam a couple weeks ago, and it went.
Ed was there showing us, he was showing us everything, which was nice of him. He said there's a hole in there and the styrofoam took off. I think I touched it with a stick. It took off.
okay?
That should be repaired. That's something we can do. And again, the belts at Kincora. Let's see, Sunshine Hill. This is something that we should all go together tonight and do. That's how urgent that is. I'm sure no one wants to go, but the chemical tanks in the well building up there are in need of repair, and of course our licensed water guy says that should have been done before. And if I'm not mistaken, it's on your order from the state to change, if I'm not mistaken. Do you recall that?
I can't remember that.
I'm pretty sure that was on there to clean the tubes, and what we would like to do is in, you know, following with Ed and the way we like to keep costs down for you, we have found 2 chemical tanks in your system at the plants.
Chemical feed tanks.
Chemical feed
storage
tanks, 50 gallon drums with markings, the type that should be in there. And we've already took the liberty to wet test one, it doesn't leak. And there's another at Kincora that the integrity looks good, we'd like to clean that up, and we'd like to put those 2 in service. So it's only our labor to do it. We'd like to go in, we'd like to mount the chemical pumps, permanently mount them on the wall down there, not to disturb any water pipes, but there's a wooden rail there. And that's what this state, I believe, recommended. And redo all the tubing and put those tanks, because what happens is when you go in there and you put your chlorine in, or your sodium hypochlorite, and you add water to dilute it, what happens is that water just becomes, looks like muddy water. There's so much sediment on the bottom of the tank. And then what's happening is the pump is clogging. And I had to turn it up today, and I hope it works till tomorrow. Knock on something. I would like tonight, if we go away with anything, at least give us the okay to go in there. And what we're going to try to do is use those 2 tanks. We know the one does not leak. We do not know if the other one leaks yet. But if it holds water and it's good integrity, we'd like to just put those in and save you money. And just,
You've already got the tanks.
you know, just we'll charge you the time and material to go in there, mount, clean, switch them out. But if it does leak or it has a crack that we haven't seen, we'd like to purchase one. I don't know the cost of one of those. I'm sure it's not going to break the bank, but you really are going to need to do that.
I might have something in my archives too that might be of use that I've been wanting to donate to, that I have to, maybe I need to take a picture and send it to you.
What we're thinking is that these 2 look good. The one I know we've already tested, it is good. And the other one we think is gonna be all right. You've probably seen it.
I've seen them.
Yeah, sitting up there, yeah. And I think Sam may agree that they should work if they don't leak.
I think we need to do it.
That's a real
The huge
problem.
advantage is that you can see the liquid through the tank,
Right.
and the tanks are calibrated in 5-gallon increments.
Okay,
And the one final, if I may, is this is mostly for us. We hate a million keys and a million locks. We have already purchased enough locks to change all of yours on the gates to one key. If we may, we would like to do that, and we'll see that you get however many you'd like. Then we only need one key to get in those gates.
That way, all the locks on all the facilities will be keyed the same.
and I'm
would like
assuming
to-
you're still gonna keep the other keys where they're at?
We will put a key there, yeah.
Yes, we will keep the keys that are there where they are currently
We will take
located.
those away and put a new key there. And we would also like, and we know that there was no security, and I guess it's okay, in the buildings are all unlocked.
The gates themselves for the
The
security.
buildings
yeah.
themselves
Yeah.
are unlocked.
We've never seemed to have any problems.
Well, in our training, and our required training as treatment plant operators, one, because of what happened, was security. And it's also a risk.
Yep.
They recommend that you keep them locked, plus a lot of the equipment that's in the code building is ours, several $1,000s worth of meters, and a generator that we put in there to use to pump out the meter bit.
Well, probably a more important thing, and I just, if you
Yeah, it's gonna
can
go
bear
there.
with me just a second. You know, we work with another municipality, and they have major pumping stations. This pumping station, average daily flow through, it's 1.2 million gallons a day. Has 2 pumps in it, 100 horsepower, VFD driven pumps. And when we got there, when we first started, the one of the fans, as an example, one of the fans on one of the VFDs wasn't functioning, right? And we suggested you really need to replace this as soon as possible. So, because what will happen is the electronic components inside that cabinet are going to get hot. When they fail, it's not going to be a $400, $500 fix for the fan. It's going to be a $10,000 fix.
Not just a little thermostatic fan that comes on to keep the
Right,
box cool.
but it's sized and it's built to draw air over the cooling, you know, the cooling fins on that power pack. Well, they didn't do it. They waited 8 months. It failed. It cost them $12,000. What we're worried about here is you got 4 big VFDs that sit in that laboratory building. Each one of those is probably $25,000 to $30,000. I'm guessing. Well, maybe not. Maybe less than that. But it's been a while
I mean,
since
lock,
we-
to go back where you're worried about your concerns there, lock sets are cheap. I mean, if it's
Absolutely.
gonna-
So
if
we
it's
would
gonna
like
make
to get the
something happen,
doors.
you know,
We will hide the door. We want all the doors, the front and back door keyed the same. We'll put a key somewhere. We'll have the key in the lock. They come in the
Okay.
front gate. We'll have a key there. But we want to secure the building because if for some reason somebody gets a wild hair or somebody gets a little frisky one night and decides to do some things, there's literally in a half an hour somebody could do $100,000 worth of damage in the
All right.
building.
Yeah.
It happened in Hampton once. Some kids decided to get in and they thought, well, they must have those fire extinguishers there for some purpose. Let's use them. And that's what they did. They filled all the electrical cabinets with that. It was sucked in everywhere. But they broke in, so the insurance company was okay. I don't know how they would feel if someone
Right.
walked in and did the damage. You may meet with some resistance getting your money. So we'd like to do that for all those reasons. And plus the boogeyman won't be there when I get there. So that's, I guess, the main ones that we'd like to start with.
All right, let's do it this way. We'll start from the bottom and work back up. All right? Replace all just replace all key areas of entrance keys, door keys, locked out, keyed out, okay? What's the wish of the body?
Replace them.
Replace them? Second. Okay, been made and second. All those in favor, any discussion? All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye. Aye. Simple, cheap, okay? If nothing else, make sure that we have at least one key in our premises, whether it's up here or however we wanna work it, you know. My personally, I wouldn't mind having a complete set for the stuff down in Ferguson Cove area, because you might get a nice shoveled walkway when the snow's flying and stuff, if you
We'll get an argument
accommodate,
on that.
you know what I'm saying?
We will make several
There might be
sets.
some fringe benefits to that key in the middle of the winter time.
Especially for the cove plant where we keep the grinder pumps, we're gonna need a set of
Yeah, we-
keys for, Lanker and Jody.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there'll be plenty of
Yeah, we
keys.
talked to
yeah,
Jody
we've met
about we
those
may do
guys.
that, and nice guys, and
Okay.
we would accommodate if you know, saw it your way.
All right. Replace the chemical solution tank for Sunshine Hill.
Do it.
I hear a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Then we're gonna move and second it. Any discussion? All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Before you go buy something, or give me your phone number that I can send you a picture.
Good.
I have something that might be of assistance to you,
Okay.
okay?
We're gonna try to use what we have, and we
It's
think
about
they're
a
gonna work.
50-gallon tank. It's brand new. It's got a pedestal on it.
Okay.
And I don't know what, I think there's even a pump with it.
50-gallon tank might not fit in that hole.
Well, that's what I'm saying too, so I
Yeah,
don't
well,
know.
It still fit.
These
I-
are 50 gallons. So.
They're, you know,
So
it's.
we have cost in mind to keep it down, so we're gonna try to use what you have. It'll just be time and material for us to install it.
Okay, replace blower belt drives. I'm gonna make that a general one for Cove, Kincora. That's for both of them. If you're gonna do one, you might as well do the other. The expense of it is basically the cost of the blower belts, and you guys got the labor figured in for
Labor
that
is
already.
already in your contract.
Okay? What's the wish of the body?
Do it.
Do it, put them on a schedule, okay?
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. All those in favor give the consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let's do it this way on the clarifier. The weir. What time do you folks come through and take care of King Cora on Saturdays?
It varies.
Yeah.
Okay?
It would be easier just to say, you know, if you wanted to be there, if you wanted
I
to
would like to be there. I'm only
Yeah.
mile and a quarter away, you know what I'm saying? If I'm home, okay? But I'm generally in that valley, so I'm not far.
What's that?
You have Saturday.
I have Saturday.
What time are you gonna be there Saturday?
Well, I could be there first or I could be there last.
I may be able to assist you in this. If it's something that I can aid to it, we might be able to put something in there that's very shiny that won't deteriorate.
Stainless steel would be wonderful. I think it's
Okay.
aluminum.
It's, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
somewhere down there, I think I have my fingers in one of them already. if I'm
You just
not
want to take
mistaken.
a look at this weir at this point, right?
Yeah, I might measure it, I might be able to make it. I got some technology here.
Yeah,
okay?
we had the drawings of that plant, so we could look at those, we could bring those, and we could look at those and just confirm that, you know, the
There
dimensions.
was a
are
weir
correct.
down there, it was replaced, and don't know which way we went with that, but
I'm gonna think it was that one in aluminum because there's parts laying there. But
I think I just replaced something that they bought before, but I may have the ability to make that stainless.
Yeah, 'cause that was
If it's a
probably
replaceable
steel.
weir, you know what I'm saying?
so how will we meet up or?
You got my number, you got my card, got my cell phone number.
And then we got the.
Okay.
You
We'll
got
be in
my,
touch.
yeah, I gave you that little card, contact me with that, with the stuff that's on the back of it.
What I'll
That's
do
my
is
first-
we'll arrange to meet you, I'll give you a call, and
Yeah.
let you know when we're about a half
Give me,
hour out.
yeah, that's fine. At the present moment, I don't have nothing planned on Saturday, I'd like to stop by, maybe like I said, I can help you with that. Just like the, the basket coming in, the treatment plant, screwed as it is, it does work.
Yes. We found some clothes that belonged to Mr. Dickey's, I think was his name. I didn't offer to take them back up. I didn't think he wanted.
That was a Saturday morning project that I did. Ed was very helpful, very appreciative of when I stuck that in there, so. Okay. Repair and replace, this is for pH meters and analyzers. Is there an estimated cost that you can give us on them?
The one chlorine.
I don't have
I mean, is it a substantial cost, or is it?
No, I think the temperature, if we can find the appropriate temperature probe, that's probably, I don't know, $150, something like that.
Okay, I
If
mean,
we're
I'm looking at a worst case
Okay,
scenario.
we'll go to Cove, and the one Jim's referring to is the pH meter you have. To put it to where it belongs is probably going to be less than $200. Okay. Now to purchase a pH meter, I'm going to go out on a limb here. The last one, it's like 350. They're around 350, and DO meters are. Yeah, they're solid. These things are solid. I'm going to say chlorine analyzer. We just purchased one.
Okay, step back here.
So
Turnkey package, $1,000 does it?
probably not. Why don't we get you a price on this instead
Get
of
us a
trying to
number,
guess?
okay?
Because this is lab
My
equipment.
idea of this is if you're going to have them, you ought to have the same.
Well, we definitely like to do it. The well required, and it was also in your order there, to have a certain meter for your well to check the chlorine residual. We purchased that, and that was just about $500.
Okay.
Okay. But that's what a chlorine analyzer costs. It's just a hair under $5. We won't hold you up. We'll work on that one.
You give us a price,
Okay.
because it's going to be ×2 no matter what it is.
Well,
Technically, it should
not
be.
completely, because the pH meter down there that works
Okay.
is really going to save you.
Fine.
So
Okay.
we'll put something together for you.
Okay. Okay, we got the blower motors, we already did that. We did that. The entrance door to Cove, I'd like to also take a look at that.
Okay.
The simplicity of that, would it be just as simple as breaking a piece of stainless steel, flashing around it, and then screwing it tight
It's
to
just
it?
at the bottom, just something at the bottom.
And just
On
to
both
sweep.
There was
sides?
just a sweep on
Down,
there.
You know,
over and up?
you got the metal plate about an inch and a half wide, runs the width of the door, and usually there's just a sweep.
Mhm.
So you adjust it, and it just kind of drags the surface of the concrete up to the sill.
I'd like to, those two things, if we can do that Saturday, I'll meet you at one of them, and then we'll go to the other one, okay? We'll see what's up there. Maybe there's something I can help you with, maybe there ain't. Okay. Purchase and install flow proportion and influent composite sampler, suited for outdoor use.
That is an expensive item.
How many of them? Just one?
Well, what we did, this schedule kind of runs through the second quarter, 2017. And what we envisioned was that we just keep working on this over time, and things drop off and things move up.
Correct. Well, we're just
Right.
looking at number ones right now.
So we would anticipate, that we'd be looking at one unit now, because they're not inexpensive.
They're not inexpensive.
What's the
These are items that sit outside. They're in their own housing. They have heat and cooling fans. It's refrigerated, and it's all timed. It's a standalone item. The last ones that were purchased were for a plant that we do 3 years ago, and it was in the vicinity of $5,000 for one. Okay.
So
They're salty little items.
So it depends on what kind of a unit you get. I mean, those particular machines, they're about as good as you get.
Okay, give us a cost evaluation.
There's cheaper ones. The problem with the cheaper ones are they're not built for outside. We've used other types, but there was a building beside it, and we could just run the line. You can't just sit these other types out, or you can get them for $300 to $3,500, but they're not gonna last long sitting outside.
You have to build an enclosure.
You gotta put an enclosure and heat it.
Is this something that is gonna kinda like hang on the handrails and stuff, or is that what you're
No,
thinking?
it stands,
No,
it,
it would
I
stand
tell you
alone.
what, if you wanted to put it in perspective, if you had a beer meister, okay,
Okay.
at a picnic, that's the space it takes up. Only up at the top where the tap is where the pump component is. And it's a refrigeration unit under that. And the good ones are all fiberglass enclosed and
And
insulated.
then there needs to be electric supplied to it.
You have to have electric as well as a signal from the flow meter to say, come on and take a sample. Or the state goes, this is not approved.
Yeah, you're already generating a signal because it's driving the
Okay, so
chemical
this is gonna be
pumps.
one of the things you're gonna address as the weather gets warmer anyhow. Correct? It's not gonna be, I know it's a priority, but you're probably not
Right.
gonna do it in January or February.
No.
It's unlikely.
Okay.
We will also,
give
you're
me
asking us to give you a number on that?
Yeah, give us a number on that.
Okay.
Okay, the dewatering of the aerobic digesters, that's a service scope of work. You're probably,
What that is we're gonna schedule that to be there, at least two of us. We're going to schedule a hauler to come and clean all the material out. And we're gonna hose it down, we're gonna clean it out, and we're gonna get in there and we're gonna remove all that debris. And we're gonna hope, because they are stainless steel diffusers, that they're in good shape, that they're just, blocked up.
Right.
And we're
Well,
gonna
we
hope
just
that we
have stuff
can,
around.
we can clean those out, and the cost will only be the hauler, which I said is not wasted or additional money. You have to haul that sludge anyway. It's gonna be our time and material to clean it up, put it back in shape. So,
I mean, we already got part of that already budgeted in, does that sound, for the hauling part?
sludge hauling, yes,
So-
it's not gonna, we're not inventing more sludge.
I don't have an issue, I'll make the motion that they do that when it's
Yeah, that's weather
That's
permitting.
weather permitting,
Yeah.
as you work with it.
Okay.
I make the motion.
A second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, and the other one is the alternator relay for the equalization pumps.
Again, that's an electrical component that if we find it's failed, it could be $150 for a component in our labor to find it. Or if we can't find it, we have a couple of things we'd like to check. And it's just gonna be time and material for us to check it. If we find that component's bad, we're gonna purchase one and install it.
We've
It's
got-
just a plug-in model.
We've gone through the
So you're looking at something, worst case scenario is $500 in there.
I would say probably the worst case
Okay,
scenario.
Yeah.
that's, I mean, you're not, it's,
I wouldn't think it would exceed that, no.
If we've gone through, we've looked at the panel, we went and, metered the panel, once we got all the wiring straightened out. We're getting a signal to this alternator that should trigger it to switch,
okay. It's,
on each cycle, but it does do it. So we had 3 other alternators, we tried them all in this socket for the one that doesn't work, and none of them work, so we're wondering if perhaps the socket's
Socket
bad.
itself.
So we're gonna try that next.
do we wanna make a motion for this?
Fix it.
Okay, got a motion, second?
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. That's priority ones. Let's, address that and see where we are money-wise, and we'll see what we can't do. Maybe we can try to get a jump on the second quarter stuff here and work into it. I don't know how this is gonna work, but we'll do what we can.
Yeah, another notion here was that this gives you some kind of idea of the kinds of things that need to be done over time, and they can continually progress forward to the top of the list as more important things get taken out of the way. At any point in time, there can be some calamity that'll jump something to the top, but this way you have a picture looking down the road as to what kind of effort will be needed to make sure that things continue to run smoothly.
And I also want to say one more time, That, in no way does not reflect on Ed that he wasn't doing what he should have been doing. Yeah, I mean, there's three of us, there's one of Ed. You know, you get a little behind in 25 years. But he still made it work well, and it was working well when we walked in.
The question I have for you, I'm looking in some of this other stuff. Simple things. King Core, install check valves on the blower discharge pipe. Okay?
Yep.
Are you figuring on doing that, or you figuring him somebody else?
No, we would probably do that.
You're talking about just a brass check valve?
Just three brass check valves.
You
We
know,
may need three. I think they're connected with Fernco couplings at the top. They may be bad when we take them apart.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, because right now, there's a timer, the one blower runs all the time.
Yes.
You know, it can't really be alternated without manually
Shutting
changing
the valves.
the valves.
Yep,
And it's
understand
only
that.
because there's no check valves to prevent air from blowing back through the blower that's offline unless you close the valve.
Okay. Yep. That's just something like making a quick glance down through here. It got my attention.
Most of these other things are, you know, with the exception of the purchase of the lab equipment and the samplers, most of the other things are not much cost related to most of them. We just don't know why the site lighting doesn't work. We don't know why the receptacles don't work. We've done the simple, just turn the breaker on, it trips again, but, you know, we just haven't had time to check.
A rough thing here, remote telemetry system. What?
Yeah.
Well, there's two things, we're really talking about two things. One is specific to the Cove plant,
I caught that one.
and the other would be
All pumping
for the
stations.
pumping station. So look at the pumping station. There are a variety of ways. Right now, unless somebody happens to drive by a pumping station and sees a light on, you know, nobody would know that a pumping station had failed and was not functioning. I don't know how long that might be when something like that would happen. How long?
There are dollars on those.
Yeah, there's dollars on that.
Yeah, there's dialers on, was it Little
Lower-
Boston
Lower
and Lower
Duncannon, yeah.
Duncannon, but there's no dialers on the other two.
There should be one on the
Yeah.
boat.
I thought
Is
one
there?
of them
Okay.
didn't work.
Oh, no,
That's
And
what I
you're
was
right.
getting at.
I
That's what
think-
got my attention here when you were talking about, I thought you were talking about the dollars.
we didn't go into the stations yet because, I mean, our contract is just to check them. But we'd like to expand a little bit on that to make them better for you and safer. We'd like to make sure they work,
But I
make
think
sure
there's
things are
dollars,
hooked up.
maybe not on all of them, but a majority of them.
We
Yeah,
got a
some of them
telephone
that
bill
they
for
didn't
$2
work.
in Duncannon and one in Cove.
Yeah, so there's only two, there's none on the, what is that, I don't know what you call that, we call it the number 3, 1, 2, 3,
The
back
Cove
by.
pump station
That's,
has one.
that's Main Street, way down at the end.
That's called Main Street?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's way down at the end.
There's nothing on there, but, you know, it's not as big. But I think also we're talking about plants. I mean, when a treatment plant turns off a blower, when we leave at 7 o'clock in the morning, if we're there at 7, and it's not back on till the next day, that can be an issue.
Yeah, you lose a blower, a lot of things happen. Not only do you lose the air that goes to the treatment units that are supposed to be providing oxygen to the biological stuff that's doing the work of treatment, but you also lose the ability to keep moving material from the place where you separate the biological solids back to the head end of the system to meet up with new raw material to continue to do the work. That cycle's broken. So the pumps may run. The blowers are off. All the material gets washed to the back end of the plant, then it's going to go out the back end. There's no, I mean, it may be 24 hours or 16 hours until anybody knows that that's the case. I mean, the power may not be off at the plant. There may be a failure with an element of the air supply system. There's no way to know that.
We've only been there a short time, and we've had 2 of those occasions already. The blower was off. We don't know when it went off, and it was cold when we got there. That's for one whole train. The other one was why we're worried about the equalization not rotating. The number 2 pump clogged, so nothing happened. Just the flow went up. filled that up. Luckily, we were back before it was a problem, but, you know, those are the things that from an operating standpoint, to make it work well all the time, you don't really need that to aggravate the system, I guess is what
Stepper
we're saying.
doesn't
It's
work
an extra
on
check
number
on
one
the-
pump station either.
Pardon me?
The stepper doesn't work on number one pump station either, unless you guys fixed it.
No.
That's the one down in McGuire's parking lot.
So those are the things that we haven't got to. We're working on the plants, but at a later date, we'd like to go in and start looking over those for you and recommending things like that.
And that's why they're pushed farther back, you know, in the schedule.
And I guess what we do at other places where we have pumping stations we maintain, we go in and we physically test the alarms. We make sure they work. Because an alarm's no good if you don't test it, I mean, obviously. But that's what we do. It's kind of like the generators, and I know Sam used to kick them on when he went around, and we're trying to get to all that and get that right. And actually, that reminds me that Tom Stevenson's did service. I think you told him to service them all, Sam?
Yes.
And I don't know. I'm
I think
assuming
he-
that was done.
I think he got, well, I can't tell you that for sure, but I think he does. He's usually on the spot.
Yeah.
I found out on New Year's Eve that the generators were not refueled yet. So
Okay.
But they've been notified.
they have been notified again.
Well, one person forgot to notify her significant other, that's all. That was the problem.
Okay.
Actually, the lackey forgot to tell the boss. And you can tell her I said that.
No, we're slowly trying to pick up some of those things for you that we think is important.
Okay, so does that answer the question with respect to telemetry?
Yes, if we do run into problems with generators in regards to needing extra fuel due to emergency cases, I'm gonna say probably I would be the best contact to make sure that we can make that accommodation. If we see we're gonna get low on fuel during an emergency situation.
I think we'd give him another reminder. Call her and let her know.
I don't see that being a problem, but, okay?
You could probably get Karen to call her and put a bug in her ear.
And then they might have done it.
And they may have.
Well, we know we have one alarm. We have, what's his name, Ray? Is it Ray? It lives
Yeah,
right-
down beside the treatment plant, yeah.
If the light goes out, he calls Ed and Ed calls us. I don't know if that's good or not, but it could be just a bad bulb. But when I don't want to ramble on here, but when DEP has come already, and they did not do an inspection, they just did a courtesy inspection, if you will. We're I don't know, good friends with that. Inspector's a good way to say it. We're familiar with him. We work with him at a lot of plants. And he did a courtesy look around, as he always does, and he asked a whole lot of questions. And a lot of the questions he asked are on this list.
Okay.
That's why we're trying to address them, because when he comes back, for what reason, we have not, the three of us, figured this out yet. But he can come and inspect the plant, but as soon as somebody else takes over, he wants everything fixed. He wants to know, when are you going to get this taken care of? Well, what? No, wait a minute. Why didn't the people before us do that? And he wants to know when we're getting samplers. What are we going to do about? And he asked me about alarms, and this was why I brought that up, just to say.
Understand.
I said, well, when that light is off out here, that means the power's off. And he walked outside. He looked at that light. He started laughing. He said, "You're kidding me, right?" I said, "Nope. That means the power's off." "No," he said. And he thought it was humorous, and he doesn't laugh that much, so I'll quit talking now.
All right. We'll do our best to work on the other priorities as they come through. Let's see where we go with the first run here and see how it works out.
This was great, I think.
I don't think we're into a massive amount of expenses here, and let's see where the priorities are and go with that. That gets you moving.
That's
Okay?
what we wanted.
Give me a call Saturday. Give me a heads up a half hour before. Let me know which plant you're going to be at. I'm assuming it's going to be before noon.
Funny boy, funny boy.
If you have a particular time, I mean, I could.
It'd be easier,
I could go.
yeah, why don't you just, what would work for you? We
Yeah,
can
what
finagle
time would you like
things
in?
around.
One of us
I'm
will-
looking in, I'm a morning person, I like to get into
Six-
things
6
and go
o'clock?
till about lunchtime, 1
6
o'clock, and
o'clock?
then the rest of the
There, I'll
afternoon's
switch
fine.
Why don't we say like 9? Let the temperature get up a little bit.
I don't have a problem with that.
Are we making it 9?
What I wanna know is I know there's 3 of you that go out and do this, but the one I saw the other day don't look nothing like any of you 3. I could've swore it was a female.
Sarah.
Where do you see her at?
Sarah. Yeah, we want to find her too. Where was she?
No, actually, it was my wife. It was at King Court. She said, it looked like it was a female going in there. I said, are you sure? I said, there's only 3 guys that I know
Yeah.
work on this thing. I said, did they have a van? Yeah. I said, okay. I said, maybe you're mistaken. So,
Wow.
What day
I
was
know
it?
my hair's not long enough.
I was,
to do that.
I think that was a weekend or something. I don't know.
Wow.
Maybe you were bundled up. Are you sure you weren't in disguise?
We were Sunday, I was in Sunday.
I've never-
But I told the wife, I says,
I've never been called a female
I said,
before.
if they do, they got,
I don't.
they got somebody
I need a
that don't
haircut.
know.
I need a haircut, but
This
it's
was
not quite
before
that
New
bad.
Year's Eve, because that's when she brought it up.
I thought we were saying something.
All right. Anything else with you folks?
Sarah was popping her. No, we're good.
You picked a good night.
Did we?
Yeah, we were able to give you some dedicated time.
Appreciate that, and everybody was in a good mood.
Yeah, we're not always that way.
We appreciate your help.
Stick around.
It'll get worse.
Thank you.
We'll get out of here before
Yeah.
the
Before
fighting
you,
starts.
before you change your mind or
Keep the
anything.
water system from flying apart, and we'll be very happy.
Well, the only thing I can tell you is we try not to touch
Yeah.
much in there.
I
That's
don't
what
know, we got that
I
much
was
duct
told
tape.
by Ed the first time. Don't lean on anything, don't touch anything, don't look at anything too long. So I've kept with that.
Give me a call for Saturday and let me know.
We will.
All right.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, guys.
Take them out to breakfast. That'll sweeten their pot.
Yeah, they'll take you out for breakfast.
I can take out the bread.
Pull that shut again.
Yes, I don't know why she didn't leave us the control this time, but what if the other control from one of the other offices would work, or if they're dedicated?
Okay, engineers report. Very simple. I guess probably the biggest thing we need to do is approve this Griswold control.
Yeah. There's a lot of emails flying around about that.
Mm-hmm. And really, I'm still puzzled why some of the other details did not work, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
This is gonna be something that's gonna require, it's 3-inch, we have a 2-inch line. It's gonna increase to 3-inch and then decrease back down. And if I'm not mistaken, he's putting something else in it. And he says, if I'm not mistaken, he's gotta put a ball valve in there with that,
That's what he said.
okay? And I've asked him about the length, the distance, or the direction of the flow, and the space in between. Well, I got a spiel about that, but I didn't get a firm answer. So, I'm not sure whether he's gonna be able to take it back down and put a 2-inch ball valve in it as a shut-off valve, or whether he's gonna put a 3-inch flange one in it. But I told him either way, it would probably be of our best interest, wherever this may go, to put flanges on. Screw them on, thread them on, whatever it takes, flange it, so in the future, all you gotta do is unbolt and take everything out. Because all these threads, in due time, become dangerous to work with. And he thought that was probably a pretty good idea. You take, if it's 3-inch and under, it's 4 bolts. You just unbolt them, pull the whole thing out, fix everything you want, bolt it, and put it back down in.
it's too tight, you can cut the bolts with the torch.
Yeah.
Hell of a lot easier.
It's easier than taking a threaded union apart and trying to figure something that's in there for 10 years and fails. You agree with me, Sam?
Yep.
So I've been encouraging him to lean on that direction. Now, I guess he's going to, in regards to all this, is get the hold of Eichelberger. I guess is his main intention of doing that,
Sounds like.
to obtain a proposal and a new water meter. Like I said, I'm not sure where they're going to put this at or where they can put this at. And I'm not sure that's not going to become an issue.
Let's get it done. I'm too sick of hearing about this crap.
Okay? Do we have a motion?
I have a motion. Let's do it.
That's probably going to, until we're all said and done with labor and everything else. And I think it would be the best idea if we buy the control valve. We buy it and supply it to Eichelberger's.
Eliminate the middleman.
Eliminate the middleman. Okay?
So you're talking about the Griswold Model 4S F1?
Yes.
Who's gonna purchase it? Us?
Us, yes.
You?
We purchase it a while in advance and have it here, and then we'll give it to whoever agrees to install it, plus all the other accessories that go with it. That way we can get the engineer to proceed with getting that and having it available.
Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded that the municipal authority buys the Griswold manufactured controls, flow valve. Any discussion? All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Notify our engineer that we are to be purchasing that.
Is he going to, we were going to tell him to go ahead and purchase it? Is that what you're saying? Or is that, we're
I
purchasing?
think that's probably going to be the easiest way, don't you think, Sam?
I suppose.
Okay, got it.
Unless he wants to give us the information and we order it, I don't have a problem with that, because it's, billing wise, it's gonna come to us anyhow. I mean, I don't want it billed through him.
We can get that to LB Water.
Think we can get that one?
I don't know whether we can or not.
I'm
All
sorry,
right.
Sam, what did you say?
I don't know whether we can get it through LB Water or not.
I'll give.
But Karen may be able to find it on the, what's that called, where they get hit?
Yeah, the state contract,
Yeah.
Co-stars.
CoStars.
Co-stars, yeah.
What I really would like to do is I'd like to make sure Randy's the one that does the order and then runs it through our billing cycle. That way, if it's wrong, it's his family. Okay? That protects us.
Okay,
Because it's exactly what he wants and exactly what DEP's happy with. That way, we don't make a mistake.
okay.
Well, works
Okay.
for me.
All right, so we'll get him notified tomorrow.
Tell him, well, he might be on vacation, but either way.
Yeah, he is.
Get with him as soon as you can and have him have it billed to us, whether we gotta cut the check up front, however, blah, blah, blah. If there's a check that needs signed, we can do it next Monday. We can make that work, okay?
Okay. So we're gonna pay, okay, you don't want him paying for it and us reimbursing him?
No. He
Okay.
can place the order for us to make sure it's right, but all
Authority.
billings go through us.
Okay.
And it should be shipped right to here. That way we have it. Okay?
Mhm.
I mean, really, if we wanted to, I'll give him a call. Do we want to include the related bulk? Well, might as well let Eichelberger's buy that stuff because they can go about that a couple of different ways. They physically can pipe that out a couple of different ways, and that's their decision as long as it meets the engineer's qualifications. You know what I'm saying? So let's just leave it that way. Upon the authority's acceptance of the proposed flow control valve with related ball valves and fittings, Hill and Associates will contact Eichelberger to obtain a proposal for installing the flow control valve and apertures and the new water meter that was previously approved by the authority. Did we buy that water meter? If we didn't, we could probably, would
Did
we
you
wanna
get
buy
billed
that?
for one yet?
What?
Did you get billed for one yet?
No, it wasn't on the engineer's bill.
All right. I'll have to find out. Maybe we can, if it's all, if the authority approves it, maybe if we get this all through LB, we'll just order both of them at the same time, have them both shipped. That way we got both of them to our dime directly. Okay? Is there any objections to that? Is that satisfactory, Susan?
Yes, are you calling or we're calling? I'm not sure what's happening here.
You send something to Randy
Okay,
and tell him to get a hold of me, and I'll try to get a hold of him at the same time. So we'll do our
Okay.
best. I know he's on vacation, is what I'm getting at.
right.
So I'm gonna wait a day. Maybe Friday I'll give him a call and see what's going on. I don't know if he's off for a week or,
I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he is
I
off for
would
a
think
week.
I would think
Yeah,
so.
'cause I think he's in Colorado. He's on his.
They'll give me his voicemail, so I'll stick it on that tomorrow.
I'll probably send him an email, and he may call me or email me back too. So
Yeah.
I'll send him an email tomorrow and see what I can get out of him too. He may reply, he may not. I mean, we may not be able to get this control valve off them, but the water meter we can probably get from LB too. I mean, but I'd like to buy both of them. I think it'd be in our interest to have them. That way,
Yep.
we have the contact information. I think that's it for Sunshine Hill. The Michael Ward property.
Is there any movement on that at all?
Nope.
Why don't we notify the Penn Township supervisors that we have an illegal sewage system down at the Ward property and ask them to close it within 60 days?
I thought we did.
I don't think we did we?
There was some kind of letter went to the supervisors about that. Do I need to make more
I
coffee?
have some things that we can discuss
Okay.
with that, but I think it's probably better for executive session.
I didn't have my coffee today, so I'm having fits.
If you wanna just, and I have another matter from there anyway, if you wanna move that into there.
Okay, I have, let's sit tight on that, Elmer.
You want to have an executive
We'll have
session
an
now?
Whenever you want.
let's go through this, let's get the engineer's report, field representative, whatever you wanna call it, get down here to where we get to the solicitor, we'll go into executive session for the solicitor.
All right.
Okay, and then when we come back out, we can address any end results of this. How's that?
Sounds good.
Okay? So we'll table the MW2 discussion for the time being. Field representative.
Well, as I told you last month, I don't have a report. I was not going to do a report. The
And you really
girls,
don't have, and technically you don't have a job.
and I don't have a job. Did you
So you
ever
don't need a
did you
report.
ever have a job that nobody let you quit?
No?
No.
Hey,
Good job to have.
when you're good, you're good.
No.
Yeah.
No, we don't go that shit. This is the last couple. Now, whenever I take these out, you can see that you can see through them now. But whenever they're wet, you can't see through them. All this stuff just dried up and shrunk. That's the strainer because that's what it's supposed to look like. All right, and that's the stuff that's coming out of them. That's what happened. That's what happened to the last 2 meters that I changed. That one was a meter that I changed at Cruise
Oh, Cruise.
2 months ago,
You changed that 2 months ago.
maybe 3. Yes. Yes.
That's why we need a new system.
Well, okay, some of these situations that the folks have to get a plumber. If it's ours, then we need to have somebody that at least.
That was inside the meter. All right. The
Yeah,
meter,
okay.
The meters are ours.
So it's ours.
Mhm.
So we need somebody to go and investigate whether it's our problem or their problem.
I think I said that 3 months ago.
Well, I think we have to hire you on an as-needed basis to do that.
No, sir.
Well, then who the hell are we gonna get?
Hang on here, calm down.
Maybe Henry wants to do it.
Well, what I'm trying to say is this is not a complicated deal. Most of them have a shut-off valve before the meter, right?
Yeah.
They should all have.
The majority of them do.
The majority of them do.
Yeah, but then you gotta shut it off the curb box.
Correct.
Change it.
That is the interesting part, if you have to go for a curb box, because I don't know where the hell I get mine, I don't know, I have to dig up my yard. And I bet there's a lot of them up there.
There is one curb box in particular up there that I do not know where it is.
Mine.
No. It's the one at Doc Fouts' dad's house.
All right,
You
where's-
know what I mean?
Where's mine at?
Hmm?
Where's mine
I
at?
can go to the little book out there and we can give you a halfway decent idea where it's at. You can measure it off of your building and find it.
Okay.
All right. However, this one that I'm talking about up there now, I've done everything that I can to try to find that thing, and I cannot find it. I've been looking for it for 2 years.
All right, well, who, you
There's
know,
nobody
Okay,
there.
now just-
how are we gonna make it? you
Time
know,
out. Just calm down here. To troubleshoot, which basically this should be the first point of evaluation, don't you think, Sam?
I would think so.
If Mr. Ox himself has a desire and the ability to work with me on this and bring me up to speed, I would be willing to address this
As need basis?
as an as-need basis
Oh,
for the time being.
Good.
Okay, we'll see where this goes. Okay. I mean, if this is an occasional thing, it's not going to. I am not going to be able to leave work and come and do it, but it's going to happen.
Well, how often does it happen?
I'm hoping not a lot. That's what
A
I'm
couple
getting
a
at.
year?
No.
Couple of months.
Couple a month? Really?
With that water condition that's up there right now.
Oh, I know how bad
Yes.
it is. For Christ, I know.
But that's what you're dealing with. It's, you can't just fluff your hands at it. That's what you're dealing with, and that's what the people's dealing with, and they're getting tired of it.
Well,
So they're coming to us, and they're saying, hey, I got no water. Mrs. Brown, she has very little water pressure in her house, and it's between the curb valve, Ed and I figured this out, between the curb valve and the house, that the problem is there. The house up over the hill from it,
Smith?
the one that Cohen used to live in, is Smith's. The new Smith now.
Yeah. William Smith. Bill Smith.
William Smith now. I was just up there to that one. And I took the cotton picking meter out and I opened the valve, and that's coming out faster than the water was coming out in this house. All right? Where's it at? What's the problem? I have no idea. And what do I tell these people? What do we tell these people? And that's where my problem is right now. I know we're dealing with a system up there that this municipal authority has taken every penny out of that system that they possibly could, has not put a nickel in it for the last I don't know how many years.
Forever.
And
Almost.
now we got a problem up there, and now we got to fix it.
Some of those, and I may be wrong, but some of the problem, like the trickle, could it be that they have galvanized coming in, and the galvanized diameter has shrunk over
The one
here?
at Smith's, and that's just on the outside wall. Unless there's a transition on the outside wall someplace, but he has copper coming through the wall. So he's got 3/4 inch copper coming through the wall.
Well then, if he's got copper going all the way to the curb box,
I have no idea. You know, what's caused it?
well,
And that from the curb box to the house, that's their problem.
Yes, it is their problem.
And I told Mr. Smith that.
I mean, people gotta understand too, how long those pipes been in the ground, okay? And copper, or no copper, over time, they don't last forever. They will not last forever, okay?
we ran
And from the curb box in, sometimes they do need service, okay?
we had a house in Marysville, we rented a house for a couple of years. We had a problem similar to this. And it was determined that it was galvanized coming in, it was 3/4 coming in, but when it came out at the house, it was like a quarter.
Mhm.
So, you know, it corroded.
Inside that pipe will, yeah.
Sure.
Copper, there's been a few that I've been familiar with replacing. Now, they've come out with a lot better technology. The technology that's out there now, the last one I was available to do, they make a pulling device that you dig the curb box up, and you turn around and you cut your piece out right in that area. You turn around and you run the snake through, don't matter which end you run it through. You put yourself a cutting barb on the end of it, you hook your new copper to it, and you pull it all the way through. It cuts the existing copper out and pulls the new right in through where it was at. Okay? And then it saves you doing all the yard work and all the digging. Now, they're good for 50 feet or so, or certain distances and everything else. You ever see that, Sam?
I've seen it, and I'm gonna come back to you and tell you from the curb valve to the house is the homeowner's responsibility, not this municipal.
I'm not saying we do the work. I'm saying that's their job to do, but there's technology out there that it's not as bad as what everybody says is digging up, but they could have a contractor dig it all the way up too. It's a contractor's decision. But yes, it is the homeowner's problem from the curb box in. And I agree with Sam.
Sam, we started to have this discussion before we started the meeting. I think what we ought to do, really, is see if we can talk to Duncannon, see if there's a possibility that they might be interested in cooperating with, a study to see what the water needs of Duncannon are and what the water needs of, that we have, to see if they can get money. We could always turn over our supply to Duncannon with an agreement that they would serve water. If they can get the money to put treatment up there, a storage tank, we can turn it over to them and get a guarantee of a certain amount of water to be served in Sunshine Hills and the proposed development.
You can,
I
you
think
can do that. I
think
no,
it's worth
I have
a
no problem
try.
with that, because I was going to suggest, I know I suggested 3 months ago that we look into placing the water system for sale.
Yeah.
I was going to make that as a motion tonight, that we pursue that and put it on the market. Whether that's without or not, I don't know. Because sure enough, we can't afford to do what has to be done on that.
Well, I'll just tell you the way I feel about it. These large water companies are now owned by foreigners. Suez. I'm really not anxious to be a part of that operation, to tell you the honest truth. It really upsets me. But anyway, that's another whole story. I think we have at least an opportunity.
I agree in part with what you're saying. I don't care who owns it. All right.
Well, I do.
I don't care who owns it. And we got to get, this municipal authority's got to get that elephant off our back.
Well, like I said, I think we as an authority need to agree.
The
Maybe
commissioners,
it's not possible, but maybe it's worth looking into.
the
We
commissioners.
go to our supervisors and then go to Duncannon and see if there's any interest.
The
If
commissioners.
there's no interest, that's it.
I'm going to say the commissioner saw fit to have us spend over $100,000
Yeah.
of our money for engineering and then pull the carpet out
That's
from
right.
underneath us.
And that's-
I have no desire whatsoever to spend any more money than we have to up there to get to get it. I'm sorry. I don't think this municipal authority or its customers, sewer customers that get along, should be responsible for upgrading that water system. Whenever we don't have to do it, we can sell it and get somebody else to do it.
No. There was no
It's just,
promise.
I mean, I
There
don't.
was no promise by them that they would do any damn thing, so. Like I said, I think there's a possibility, Duncannon can get the money. We can't. I think it's worth a try.
Ask them. I don't have a problem with it. Ask them. They want to take that system over. Yeah, they want to do something up there and spend their money up there for that. I have no problem at all doing that.
You want to take the lead on that, Albert?
I think we should try to find out whether we can do it.
I think. I don't.
We
have
can't get the money, they can get the money.
I don't have no problem letting him open up, see if we can open up discussions.
I have no problem at all with that.
Not a problem.
See what you can do.
I'll go with you, folks.
All right.
I mean, that's an option, I mean, but I don't know where it's gonna go.
Well, I just wanted to throw it out to the board.
I mean-
Obviously, we need
If
to agree
you offer
here.
to give it to them, they might just,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is an ideal location for standpipe for them. No question about it.
I didn't say it wasn't.
It still leaves the problem for us as the distribution system. That's still a problem.
You might get it done, because you get a new regime up there, but everybody I've talked to up there in the past wants no part of that water, no part of the hill, period. So now, you may get it done this time because you got new people up there. I hope you can.
I think that came in part because Buchanan at one time wanted to annex the hill,
Well,
and the township shot it down.
yeah, I don't doubt that. And the
And I
thing
don't
is,
blame the township for
no,
doing it,
neither,
it's tax money.
neither do I, it's tax money. Another thing you do, if you unload the, shouldn't say it, if we sell the hill, if we sell the Sunshine Hill Water Company,
Or trade it.
or whatever, nothing says you have to get rid of the Petersburg Commons Water Company either. They're two separate entities. You can keep them, still buy bulk water from Duncannon and sell it to those people and make money on it.
Well, we've been, what, you've had this for 20 years? We've been paying water bills up there for 20 years. Nothing, you know. But the money isn't going into the system, that's for damn sure.
Where?
From here.
Sunshine Hill?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
This municipal authority has taken everything out of that system that they possibly can and have not put anything in there longer than 20 years on it. Since 1950 something, whenever they got it.
this year was the first year you've ended up in the red. This is the first year that I've been treasurer that the expenses for the year exceeded the income.
And that's my point. We have not put anything in it, and now
No.
we're starting to pay.
The income's,
So-
well, the
and
income's
now
So the
coming
water
down.
customers actually have been subsidizing the sewer customers.
I'm not going to argue.
Is that right?
I'm not going to argue that point.
Yeah.
That's true.
Not going to
That's
argue
true.
that point.
You gonna see what you can do, Elmer?
And we cracked that nut.
We're gonna try.
Now, I had to make.
One other thing regarding it. Mr. Holman, you said if I would work with you, all right?
Yep.
If I'm still considered part of the field representative on February, rest assured, after that meeting, I will not be.
Well, we need to take the field representative's report off, because it don't exist.
Well, I'm the one that put that. I just told Karen to get rid of the word report, but so you can blame me for that because I just told her to put those two items
For
there.
the next month. For the next month.
No, we're going to drop it now.
No, for the next month, you got questions on there for who do you call for PA1 calls?
Yeah.
Who do you call for dirty water?
Yeah, well, those have to be answered tonight.
Yes, I'm saying, for the next month, you call me,
Oh, okay.
all right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
you take care of the township's PA1 calls too, did you not? No? Okay.
But I will if she wants me to,
For 1 month.
for 1 month.
But did you before that?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Because that was their question. She had sent a letter to us. Is it this?
Yeah, it's in here. Yep. And she asked again Wednesday night.
Oh.
Okay, and along those lines, to go along with the PA1 calls and the water complaints, because you had a list of 8 different things that you had done that the new group was not going to do.
Yep.
And we did not address who was going to do any of those. Like grease trap
Right there.
inspections. Petersburg water meter, domestic water meter replacements, mow grass at the Little Boston pump station, inspect sewer laterals and mains that are new.
Do we think we need to advertise for something?
Did Mr. Smith get interviewed or he was?
No, it didn't happen.
Okay. I know that Mr. Mullen, Terry Mullen, whatever his name is.
Ken.
Ken Mullen was not interested.
I've been working on him. I don't know whether he's still disinterested or not.
Why don't we advertise it and see what we get?
Works for me.
You know what I'm saying?
We can, I'll have to, I don't have, I need that list because I've lost mine. We can stick it on the cable station, put it in the Duncannon Record.
Stay away from the Patriot.
Oh, well, we've used the Patriot when we've had to
When you
in
have
here.
to, yeah.
We've used the Patriot,
Yeah,
but
as a last
Advertise
resort.
we won't for this. The problem with that is how many hours, you know, I mean, this could be a 20-hour a month job. And nobody, and, you know,
We need to put an hourly rate to it
yeah.
and leave it open at that.
Right now, it's $22.50, so you better, you know. if you're not-
$22.14.
$22.14, I'm sorry. So if you're not interested in paying that, set a price.
But yeah, we would need it, and
And bear in mind, whoever takes the job is going to be using their own vehicle and their own tools. That's worth something.
yeah, until you take taxes off of them. Because they would not be an independent contractor. I can't see that. I think Dennis would probably argue against it.
It's getting tougher and tougher to sell the independent contractor.
Well, the only other thing to do is hire somebody else out.
Say that again?
Hire it out, somebody else. You know,
What do you mean?
get some plumber, get them to do it. Get some electrician, get them to do it. You know, PA1 calls. Somebody's a contractor. You know? Contact people like that, locally. Pay them by the hour. Only pay them their hourly rate with their truck, whatever they got. You know what I'm saying? Then the benefits and everything's taken care of, all out of the system. You're not getting it?
No, I'm not. So when there's a PA1 call, we have somebody that we just call and say, go do this. Somebody would be willing to do maybe 1 or 2 PA1 calls a month and that's it.
What I'm trying to tell you is we got somebody like Lanker that comes in and fixes a grinder pump on demand.
Yeah, but that's more steady.
What's the difference?
I don't know, you're looking at me, you need to look at the board, because I...
No, you're the one giving the funny expressions here.
Well,
I mean, is what I'm getting at. I mean,
in my mind, there's a big difference. I see that somebody has to go out and do PA1 calls. I'm certainly not going to volunteer to do something twice a month.
Sam, would Lanker be qualified to do that?
Sure. Blinker or Huffman, either one of them, if they were to be interested in doing it.
Well, whose responsibility are they? It's not just the PA1 calls and stuff. Is it the township's responsibility?
Township has pipes in the ground, sewer pipe, not sewer pipes, but drainage pipes that need to be marked. All right. We have water lines, we have sewer lines, and we have electrical lines underground.
So that would be ours then?
Yeah.
Pardon me?
That would be our responsibility then?
Sewer lines, water lines, and electrical lines would be our responsibility. Culverts and cross pipes and all that other good stuff, storm drains, is the township.
Township, okay.
Which could be turned over to them.
Well, it should be,
Could you address that letter? Is that a possibility? Say,
sure.
you take care of your own.
Yeah,
on our behalf, yeah.
Yeah.
On our behalf, we take care of our own.
yeah. That's where we're at, isn't it?
And I think that's where they are right now.
Read that list
They
off
are
again.
taking their own.
I know you set up, but
I'll
we'll
give
put
it
them
to
on.
you, you can have it.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that something that Linker could do all those?
Yes. If he wants to.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to have to put it out as an advertisement, mail it to him, mail it to a couple other people, and see what you get out of it and interview him.
Well, this number 13, the Petersburg Commons water meter vault, you'll see that we just paid $65 to these guys to have that done.
What did you do to it?
They set up a pump, they brought in a technician. It's the second page of their bill.
Yeah, they pumped it out. They got a generator sitting in the treatment plant. Did you hear them say?
Yeah.
Yeah, they pumped that one out. So if that's the case, they might do that all the time.
That'll work then.
I mean, they did do it.
Mm-hmm. That'll work.
So-
They need that pumped out whenever they do the backflow prevention test. Or actually, when they do the backflow prevention test. That's our responsibility.
Which is a yearly test.
Once a year they do that,
That's towards springtime too, ain't it?
usually.
So they've done that so we could cross that off that list. They've
Mhm.
already set the precedent.
Yeah.
Now we're down to what, six? Six
Seven.
items? 7 items? Did that go on, Cece?
7. PA1 calls, inspection of sewer laterals and mains that are new, grease, and correct me if I'm wrong, grease trap inspections, repair and replacement of grinder pumps. Now, does that
That's-
still, that's actually gone,
That
that's
can
Jody.
take that off, because that's
Okay.
Jody and those
So
guys.
then that will make it 6.
Grease trap
But
inspection.
however,
Grease
that
trap.
was coordinated repairs. That means somebody here calls, well, of course, our office people can do that too. Okay.
What consists of the grease trap inspection, Sam?
Just go in and check it out, check their records and make sure they've cleaned it out, and make sure that you pop the lid on the ones that have like a manhole. You look at it, make sure that it's not overly greased up, that it is actually functioning, and then you pop it back in. Take about a half an hour in each one of them, I
Could
guess.
we actually recur them to have that done and send that certification to us, rather than having somebody go out and do, I mean,
How do they clean them is what I'm getting at. I know they're on my head here, that's what I was getting at. Do they
The
soak?
in-ground ones, the big ones, like the VFW, and the Cove Center,
Mhm.
they get pumpers come in, and they'll pump them out, and they'll clean them out, and they'll vacuum them out.
let's put the onus and
Roar
expense on
Bus,
them.
Roar Bus does the same thing. They have somebody come in, clean out the grit chambers and their grease traps. They pump them all out and they bring them back up. Now, there's under the counter ones for the, like the stores
Toby's
and everybody else. Sheets has an in-ground.
ground.
They have an in-ground, that they do that. And
But the under sink ones.
the under sink ones, they get a plumber or they do it themselves, and they scrape it all out and they clean it out. They're only, 15, 20 gallon tanks maybe.
How many are there here? How many? I mean, about how many?
Mutts balls, Toms.
And you have to do it how often? Once a year?
Twice a year.
Huh?
Twice a year.
Twice a year. So if we required them to send in to us a certificate or a report or whatever it is from the person that did the work to our office, would that work?
Who's gonna follow up with if I have an under-counter grease trap and I don't have it?
That's what you weren't listening there, and that's what I was trying to get him to tell me, and that's what he told me earlier. They're self-cleaning. You don't need to have somebody come in and clean them. That's what I was getting at. If you had somebody that they came in, charged you to clean them, and get the billing receipt every time.
Right.
And that would be a satisfactory way. But that's not always the case.
Right now, if you own a store and you're cleaning your own, I'll come in and you'll have a little note sitting up beside it, and it says, my grease trap was cleaned December 31st, 2015. All right? And that's, as long as we've got a good thing on there, and I'm sure that they are cleaning their traps out, that's good enough. And that's how we confer it. And if any time you got a question about it, yes, to take the lid off of it and check it out.
What determines what are self-cleaned and that aren't self-cleaned?
Usually all the small ones under the counter are self-cleaned. The only under the counter one that was not self-cleaned was the one for the daycare center down at down in the Cove, who was it?
Barracks.
Barracks Daycare Center, and that was done by a plumber down in Marysville.
Nice.
And he always sent us a sheet that said, hey, he cleaned it. He sent one of my inspection sheets. I gave him a bunch of them, he'd copy them off and he'd send it.
Okay, why don't we do that? Why don't we have Susan send out to
Ward
Lanker?
bus calls me every time they're coming up. There are guys coming up from Virginia or Gettysburg now to do this pumping. All right? McGuire's on occasion will do that. Sheets, if I go in and ask Sheets to give it to me, they'll give it to me. Give me the report. They should, so that's what you need to do. And a lot of them just flat ignore what you're asking them to do. Even the ones that have the pumpers, they just don't do it. Tom's sons in Sunoco down there, they get their own people, like Sheets gets their own people to come in and pump them out and clean them up. And we don't get anything from them until I go down or until somebody goes down and says, hey, give me your records for your cleaning.
Well, yeah, well, there'd be records here, so they know.
There's no records here.
Well, we could have them sent here.
Pardon me?
Couldn't we have them sent here?
We've asked them to do that already, and we have not had it done. Yeah. That's why I still fly around and do it. There's a lot of them that just totally ignores what you're asking for. It's like the delinquencies here. They set up payment schedules, and then they forget all about it.
Well, possibly anybody that would take this job on would have their own system of doing it and mandate it and have it, however they wanted the paperwork to be transmitted or whatever.
Right.
And that's what I was just going to say, have Susan send out, like the Hoffman, I don't know them, Lanker, and whoever else you could recommend, and then put it in an advertisement and let it in there for a month. See what happens.
You can do that. And another thing that I do as the field representative, or I did as a field representative, is I tracked whenever we cleaned all the gravity sewer lines and what's next up on to be cleaned gravity-wise. Are these folks going to do that? Because nobody's talking, they have not talked to me as to what was cleaned last and what my
they aren't going to
procedure
do
is.
that.
Well,
I've given it all to them.
that's part of their contract, though, right?
I don't know. I've given it all to them. I think it is. I think it's part of their maintenance.
I think you're
I think
right.
it should be.
You consider that schedule and track all sewer main flushings? Would that be what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's on their list.
Is that on that list, Sue?
That's on Sam's list here. That's what I've got as a list of the field representative
Yeah,
things.
okay.
But it's not in pink. So maybe they are doing it. What he's highlighted in pink is what appears to need to be done here.
Maybe that's something I need to address on Saturday. With them, ask them if they're doing it. Question them.
I have. I've taken the majority of the stuff off of that's another thing too. The computer is at my desk in the office. I'm going to donate that to the Municipal. I've taken all my personal stuff off of that. It's there. It's yours for now. But anyway, that's what I have discs, or not disc, but the stick memory that has all the locations of the grinder pumps, and that's already on the computer down there. And I have stick memories for what's next up on the flushing.
All right. I'll question them on that Saturday, okay?
Mhm. And I gave Jim a stick memory with all that stuff on it. He gave it back to me last month whenever he gave me all this stuff back. So all that stuff here is from the flow meters. the tracking of the flow meters. I talked to Duncannon Borough. Duncannon Borough is not getting copies of our flow meter. Number one, the number one pump station in McGuire's, they're not getting copies of that. They should, well,
That's from phone too.
that's from phone. They don't have to give them Cove, that's ours. But they need Lower Duncannon. They are doing 2 and 3, and we're not getting copies of them from Duncannon.
So in other words, we ain't getting pump station.
So what I'm
stuff
saying
back
is,
and forth.
what is that, chapter 97 report, is that what it
94.
is? 94 report? Yeah.
Randy.
Thank you. Randy's going to have a heck of a time doing that next year, because we don't have the charts, we don't have any of those numbers.
And Duncannon ain't giving them to us. Okay.
JOAC maybe.
Yeah, JOAC.
Yep.
By the way, I won't be at the next JOAC.
Neither will I.
So maybe we'll have to postpone our, I'd like to talk to them first about our, you know what I mean? Unless you wanna.
Can you put an advertisement together for that, Susan?
That's here this month.
It'll be just
Yeah.
be the
That is here this
Next
month.
Monday.
sewer people won't have anything to do with the water.
Well,
Maybe we can,
we could at least talk to them about it. You know, that's their authority, right?
well, this is our sewer authority, yeah.
Yeah.
Where are we there?
You looking for a motion to advertise for a field representative for those, 6 items?
Field representative's duties.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Now, in order
Do
for that.
we wanna proofread that before she sends it?
Probably. In order.
Oh, there's not even any choice. I have no
Now,
way.
do you, whenever you advertise that, do you advertise that with the rate, the pay rate? Or is that just until you get people, you start talking to them, and get serious and talk?
I think we ought to leave that open.
I think so too. Yep.
I mean, cause that number itself could be an aid
Or a distraction.
a distraction. I mean, it could help or hinder, you know?
So does
As an
anybody
helper.
have an idea what something, position like that would, $15 an hour, or 20? What, what would be a
What did you say?
Well, it's like you said,
Right now, it's 2214.
22.14, okay.
and they're using their own vehicles, and we're gonna have to take tax.
Use their own vehicles, their insurance, their tools.
Let me ask you this. Somebody turns around and gives you a 1099. No taxes taken off.
I understand that. Then you get the government saying, there's all these definitions of what an independent contractor is, and it's if they have their own equipment.
Let's cross that bridge when we
Yeah.
come to it, okay?
Okay? You may be surprised. You may find people that's so interested in doing that. If it's a contractor, it's gonna be a flat hourly rate.
Yep.
You're gonna cut a check to him and that's it.
Yeah, but
He's gonna send you a bill.
I don't think it's our choice. There was a time when you had to make Irene an employee because the
If you
government.
turn around and Mr. Langford takes this work on, he's not gonna be an employee.
No, I understand that.
That's what I'm getting at.
So we'll write down and that we'll put it in the ad. This is a contracted position. There are no benefit. This is a part-time contracted position with no
I
benefits.
think it'd probably be the best way of doing it. See what happens.
Because they're gonna have to pay their own Social Security and all that. Okay.
happen. Any other suggestions about that? You agree with that, Sam?
Gets me off the hook, it's fine with that.
We ought to know somebody that can do this. Well, I was.
Things in my home are changing.
I understand that.
I gotta reset my priorities. Things at home are changing, is all I'm gonna say. And I just can't very well do it
I
anymore.
understand that.
Well, there'll be a time when you'd be too old to do it. So,
That's not for a long
How
time
old was Mr. Schaefer?
well, no, he quit eventually. But he trained somebody. You should be training somebody. It's your fault.
Sweetheart. 3 months ago.
I know.
Yeah, he
I know.
did. Gotta be honest.
While I was making coffee, the subject of Mr. Ward came up, and I don't know what to put in the minutes.
Table it.
Okay.
Table it till solicitor, okay?
Okay. Oh, I understand. Okay.
All right. Are we done with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Master meters reports.
Yep.
Huh?
Is that
Don't
the-
look at me, pal.
Is that the thing Karen is reading?
Huh?
Is
No, they're her flow meters. Or she reads the water meters. That's all she reads. All right.
Are
That is what this is, and that's what Jim gave me back last month.
And that's part of his work?
That's part of their work,
Or did they say
and
they-
that's part of what I just got done telling you. Randy's going to have a hard time doing Chapter 94 report.
I had thought they weren't going to do that.
It's part of their maintenance.
Okay. Wastewater flow meters. Yeah.
Wastewater flow meters, that's included in the contract.
We'll do pump stations, not 2 and 3.
That's right, and that's what I just told you.
That's
2 and 3 belong to
Duncannon.
Duncannon.
Okay. With you. Oh, that's at Ann
Ann and Clark.
okay.
So we got full teeth from Duncannon to get down.
Well, but yeah, because Randy does that to give them the information. It's for their Chapter 94 report.
Understand? So no, technically, we should be able to ask them at the end of the year to get them, but that's, could be a questionable thing too. Okay? Keep that master meter reports on there, so we keep figuring out where this is gonna go.
Yep.
Okay? Penn Township Supervisor's report. Don't see one of them.
Who is our new,
Same.
same guy?
Yep.
Okay.
Who was voted chairman? Brian Peters?
I'm gonna say the PA1 call, if they decide they're gonna do something with the PA1 call, we may end up being able to pawn that off over onto them. We'll see. I don't know.
We do need to address their letter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why don't we just do that right now? Have Karen send a thing saying that we would like, that we are
Yeah.
requesting that they handle all township PA1 calls.
Devil's advocate. They're not gonna know where your sewer lines are. They're not gonna know where your water lines are, especially the water lines. You ever look at that drawing for that water system? And that's where you're gonna run into problems with those folks over there, getting one of their, they don't have anybody to do it now either.
I know.
Huh.
That's just,
Helen said she would do it.
Mm-hmm.
She did.
Yes.
She told me that.
Told me too.
So we'll send them a letter stating that we are
She said she would do it.
we no longer can do it. We are
we're not able to do it at the present time.
we are not able to do township PA1 calls.
Mhm. Would they be willing to do ours? Yeah, see what happens.
Okay.
Worst they can say is no.
Yep.
That's right. I mean, why build a redundant system?
And if they ask you how much we're gonna pay them, ask them how much they paid us.
All right. We're down to the solicitor. Is it the wish of the solicitor to go into executive session?
Yeah, I have one item that I can go over quickly, though. The Perry County beer distributor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I followed up with the Norfolk Southern fellow there, and he said that it had been referred out to their legal and their engineering staff to review the drawings that I had gotten from Randy and the material we had. He apologized. He said it's been a couple months. I said, well, it's been, probably 3 months. He said he would bump them about it and get back to me. So I'm hoping to have a little more information about that for your next meeting. And then I have a couple of things that I prefer to do as legal matters in executive session, if that works for you.
Can we do that at the end, because this
You can
tape
do
gets
whatever
really
you-
miserable whenever you start it
You
or
can
stop
do
it,
whatever
then
you
you have to
guys
start
want.
it on a different track and.
All right.
I'm fine with that.
All right.
Treasurer's report.
Okay, you wanna look at the delinquents first?
Looks like Pinocchio's nose, it just keeps growing.
Well, that's gonna be some of my discussion in executive session.
$107,000. Wow.
And I paid for the engineering.
Yeah,
What
no
we,
kidding.
what we could do with $107,000.
I'll send it to your endless.
All right. You need to discuss that
Yeah.
on Dennis's behalf. We've already beat this pretty hard.
Okay.
Okay? We'll see what he has to say at the end, and then if we have to address anything afterwards, we'll bring it back up. Okay?
Yep.
Monthly invoices.
All right, I'm looking to see. There's 2 to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania because they can. Remember a few years ago they tried to figure out another way to get money, so they're doing this just because we have water or sewage plants, so now there's a fee for them.
Yep.
A couple months ago we paid because we had an operator.
Motion to pay the bills totaling $57,517.03.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, the financial report, you have $197,414.15 less than you did at the beginning of last year. The total in your accounts is $219,000.
Okay, question on escrows. I think the one is going to be addressed because it's in the negative.
Oh, the Michael Ward escrow, yes, it is negative, and he was sent a letter last month.
Yes.
Or else it's in this month's folder, I'm not sure. But yes, I sent him an invoice.
Oh, you sent him one, okay, and I also reminded him in a separate.
Yeah, I
letter.
sent him a copy of all the invoices and my
So you
official
got-
letter.
You got 2 reminders.
Okay, what about the Krillin escrow?
Well,
That should go back, shouldn't it?
That's.
I just
is
looked
that-
at that tonight or this afternoon, and I said to Karen, I probably should have drawn up a check, but I thought I would wait and come here tonight and ask you. That plan is finished as far as we know. So for next month, I'll just draw up a check, or do you want to approve it now and I'll get the guys to stamp it and we'll get it sent up, or we can wait till next month.
Let's wait till next month.
Yeah, wait till next month.
All right.
Okay.
So I'll put that on my to-do list. Curlin, escrow. Okay.
Then I make a motion that we accept the financial report for December 2015, subject to audit.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And the last thing that was put in your packet, I did it at the end of the day today, is just the copy of your budget.
What's the shaded areas?
The shaded areas are just where anything that we were $2,000 off by, to the bad. For example, the total engineer was over by 2,060. I just called attention to some of those. Or no, the engineer was off by 8,000. No, yeah.
You see on the code
I was
budget here,
wrong.
we set aside $3,000 for a sampler.
Okay.
Well, that could be that was from last. Oh yeah, okay. You're right, we did put that in the budget. Thank you, Sam. I missed that part. I knew that we put aside money in the capital reserve for what they were talking about with cleaning the diffusers and all of that.
And now, since we're talking about this here again, and I should have mentioned it before whenever we were talking about the King Core report, they said about the blower belts and stuff. Do you remember we set money aside to change those blowers? Are we still planning on doing that?
I get a chance, I'll question them Saturday about that.
We put
But that's whatever they wish to do. They want to put check valves in them and probably run them the way they are.
I thought
That's
Ed was
the-
buying them. At one of his last meetings, he said that the money's in the budget and you can't go any further without them. So I thought he was going to purchase them, but we don't have any. There's no bill, so.
Susan, you forgot King Cores.
No.
I don't have it.
Yeah.
Oh, how could the treasurer do that? Okay, well, there's a King Cora budget.
I don't doubt that.
I'll go down and get it for
No, it's all
everybody
right. I
before.
don't need to see it. I just want to let you know it wasn't in this packet.
I know, thank you. I had to print off each
He
page.
couldn't pass up an opportunity, so he
Each page is a tab, and I'm getting old and I forget a lot. The bad news is you're $89,000 below budget. That's the front page. Your income was $683,000. Your OCO was $772,000. Now, that's operating expense. That is not any of the stuff that you paid to Duncannon for. It's not construction work. A lot of that, if you'll notice up on item number 27, treatment charges, we budgeted $85,000 and they sent us bills of $160,000.
Wow.
That was for the extra repairs for the code plant. 85,000 of that 159 was part of the planned fixed expenses. So if you subtract 85 from 160, whatever the difference is, was the extra. Yeah, 75,000. So that's right there is a real big chunk of why your budget's so out of. Also, your grinder pumps.
Yeah, grinder pumps are too, and that's not going to change.
And I think we did not do a very good job of the operator for next year. I lowered it because it was suggested, but I think we should have kept that higher. Because if you look at the operator's bill, in the folder, wherever the checks are floating around, it's very interesting.
I think something was kept up high to help compensate for that, Kelly.
Well, that one I know we lowered from 80,000, but anyway.
I think we kept that at 80.
We did
No,
put
we
a
kept it
cushion
at
in there.
60.
We put a cushion in there somewhere, but I can't remember what
Yeah,
it
there was
was.
a cushion in that somewhere. There was a number
Okay.
there somewhere that covers for that,
Okay.
but I forget what it was. You
Okay.
agree with me on that, don't you, Sam?
Yep.
Anyway,
I can't remember
let's face
where
it.
it was.
This is just a tool,
Yep.
as we know.
All right.
I have not talked to the auditors, but I'm not in any hurry to talk to them right now. I'm busy. However, I've got a lot of things gathered up for them to start. We've worked with them for so many years. This is our last year of the contract, so I know what they need and they know how we work. So
Good.
I may need a new printer. Here's what's happening every once in a
Oh,
while.
my.
Anyway, it's driving
Will
me
that
crazy.
printer that I got over in mine work fair?
Not for the bills, not
Oh,
for
okay.
this, not for the
Alright,
sewer
alright,
bills.
alright, you're right.
It's just printed itself to death, all right?
No, sometimes it just charges too much stuff.
All right, executive secretary's report. I don't see one, do you?
She did not say anything.
We didn't even get an email with the agenda earlier or something. I was just wondering, is she okay?
Yeah, she is okay, and I'm not sure, well, I don't know why we didn't get one this week. You should have had one by about Monday. I'll tell her that from now on, we'd like to have it out on Monday.
Monday, Tuesday, I mean, I generally look forward to having an
Yes,
idea.
I
you
agree.
know.
I agree. We just got a little lax on
Don't
that.
blame that on me.
JOAC meeting, January 11th, 6:30.
I will not be at that
I
one.
And
won't-
Elmer won't
I
be
won't
Let me
here.
see, I
either.
don't
All
think
right.
I'll be at that one anyway.
If there's any checks or anything, Susan, we'll be here. Let us know. Well,
I don't know what there would be.
all right.
What did we think that we needed a check for? I forget. We talked about something, but
Curl and escrow.
No.
yeah, that was one, but no,
No,
Elmer
we
or
can take action
Sam.
on that.
Was it something about the,
That thing for Randy with the
yeah,
central
Oh.
water.
I'm wondering if that comes into play, if we need something there.
We can,
We'll see. We'll get around to it.
you can always do that by telephone and call me, and I know where Sam's desk is. See, he's got those stamps.
No
The
longer
ones that-
mine, no longer my desk.
Right. We won't see you sitting there anymore either. Yeah.
I didn't say that.
All right,
Gotta come up
incoming,
and visit.
outgoing correspondence, pure radicals, they're all there. Old business.
That's just the first one's there as a reminder.
That's
Smith property.
That's scheduled for sale this month.
Go ahead and
Mortgage
stamp.
foreclosure.
Take you longer to stamp it.
Yeah. You're gonna stamp, I saw me sign it.
Who?
He's gonna do it. Okay. Penalty waivers.
Well, let's just leave that on until the next time. You did, there were two people that she suggested, and you didn't particularly like either one of them. I went back to her with your conversation, it's in the minutes. And she again said that of all of the people who are scheduled to make payments, those are the only two that never, ever, ever miss a payment. And that's why she was suggesting that.
Which were the two again?
It was the
940 and 1024.
thank you. And you know what? You asked me to do something and I didn't do it, and I just remembered. You asked me to come up with how much the penalties were on those big accounts. And I didn't do it.
What, 940, and what was the other one?
1024.
Yeah.
And you say they never miss.
Nope. Never ever. That's what she said. That's why she did it. Now, 940 you've had trouble with. But she said he's never missed a payment. And the other person is living there, is not the owner.
Yeah,
It was an agreement that they made to get the place from sheriff's sale.
right.
And, you know, he's making payments of 110, 120 a month.
Okay.
But it's, you know, with the penalties and all that, she takes the $60 out, but it's not really catching up his back amount.
They have not missed a payment.
That's what she said.
Susan.
Dennis, can we take these on like a case by case?
I think that's the way you'd have to do it, is case by case, and I know one thing we discussed was whether, I remember how I phrased this, but I guess I'd like to see the bill caught up to the point where the only balance is all these penalties and whatever they are, and then at that point, consider
Sam missed one there.
waiving them, if you follow me. Get the principal amount of the with the unpaid balance up to date or current. And I think then it's a little easier for you to take a look at what's left
That's
and say, well,
right.
this
You
is
had
the-
suggested that.
We- and
Starting
we
some
talked
kind of
about the back of-
spreadsheet.
Yeah, to say, look, they're up to date except for these penalties,
All money
and
paid,
maybe then that's the time to
put
consider
on,
it. I don't know, it's a thought. And
put on delinquent. Well, current first, then delinquent, because I think she was taking fees out of them too. Okay. All right, we'll see.
I think we have forgiven penalties in the past on
there's no- you
different,
have-
like for late connections and things like that. So it's not like we
Somebody
would,
paying,
it's not
paying
like
it
we,
off, we waive the penalty fee at the
Yes.
end or
it's,
something like that.
yes,
yeah.
it's not like that we would be doing something now that we never did before.
Yeah, that's shoemaker's.
It's just a little
budget.
bit different on the structure.
Right, yeah. Shoemaker's never comes to mind. We waived penalties on that. But that's when he came in with a big check and brought the whole
Yeah.
account.
Larry Miller maybe too.
Maybe.
All right, we can put that on hold for another month if you want, and I'll come up with,
Okay. New business, February's reorganization meeting. Anybody interested in becoming chairman or any of the other positions?
Elmer
Please
is.
speak
No,
their
I'm-
mind.
I think it's
You wanna
working out, I think it's working out pretty
Status
good.
quo. I make a motion to go status
I
quo.
don't do that. It's time for somebody else.
Yeah. Cece could be, she hasn't been yet, why don't we make her?
that's true, you were being nice to her because she was on the supervisors.
Well,
Jim too.
That's right, Jim would do
you
much
wanna be,
better
you
than
wanna
me.
be the head honcho?
No, thank you. Thanks anyhow, though.
I do know for sure I'll probably be missing 2 meetings again next year.
We
So
can't
if
have that, we
Okay,
can't have
that's
that.
why you need to find somebody else.
That's right.
That's what I was getting at.
Hey, we hit him.
That's pretty good. Nobody got shot, nobody got stabbed.
All right,
Okay,
I make a
Overall-
motion, we go status quo.
Overall,
That's
it's
next
month.
February, but
What?
overall,
next month is your reorganization.
Oh, it's not tonight?
No,
Oh.
I'm just making a couple statements.
no, because
that
you have to vote on
With-
banks and all that kind of stuff.
With everything
Sign
is-
Think
checks.
about,
With everything that could be going on this year, we have some issues, but there's no big project crises, so to speak, going on, other than delinquencies and there's no,
And what we're gonna do with Sunshine Hills.
yes, and that's the issues that we have at that moment, but there's nothing,
Holy hell, here we are paying Suez water company.
No,
so.
What are we paying
so you're
them
gonna
for?
have to leave 'em.
They supply us with the readings for business
Oh, that's
campus.
right.
So now we have to pay
We gotta
them.
pay this.
Okay,
Form.
are we ready to go into executive session with Dennis?
Before we do, I'd like to make a suggestion for starting out next month. We get Randy's, everybody gets Randy's report ahead of time, right?
Right.
Okay. I would like to see us next month, when he sits down and starts to read that verbatim, to halt that. I mean, we read it, we've digested it, we know, oh, shut up. We know what it says, and,
So in other words, move him along.
yes, because
Okay.
it just, to me, it just takes up, it's redundancy.
Yes.
We don't need to hear that. If he can highlight particular
Get
parts
to
of
the,
that
get to the
report.
great meat and potatoes of it, and skip all the details
Yes.
in between.
Action items,
Yes,
action items.
Yeah.
You want to hear the action
You
items?
don't.
and I don't know, our new people, if they have all our email addresses or not, but we can sure get them to have them do the same thing, with their report. And that would move, I think that would move the
Yes,
meeting
I agree with
along.
that one, that would probably help.
Um,
Well, they weren't planning on coming to every meeting, I don't think.
well, a report by email 2 days
Right.
earlier would make a big difference.
Yeah,
If we have any concerns, we can call them, address them,
Yeah.
email back, express our concerns, get them hashed out, then we can make sure we're all in agreement and meet.
Okay, not to interrupt you, Jim, but just to sort of expand on that, with the engineer, we get that report beginning of the week, or even sometimes Friday beforehand. And we get our agenda ahead of time. Do we absolutely need the engineer to be here unless we see something on here that we're going to need his assistance with, or something that
Till
shows up
we get
in?
DEP off our fannies and trying to avoid another fine, I think we need to have him here.
That's what he said.
After that, I have no issues with that, but right now, we need to keep ourselves as tight as possible. I mean, you read the paper about what's going on with Newport now,
Yeah.
okay? We're not the only people having issues here,
Right.
okay? We're the only ones that's not having a reoccurring issue,
Or been
and
in the
that's what we
paper.
don't want.
Yeah, we don't want
Okay, he's been very, very communicative with them, and I would like to do the same thing. We've done it before. I think it's a good idea. As we get off of this, there's a good possibility we can loosen him up for the whole summer. I agree with that. That's something, but
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Ward's thing's gonna be one of them things there, the inspector's gonna take care of it, he can put that in his thing, it should not be an issue.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah, you're right, because really you had, there was so much activity with the water project
Yes.
and things that he really kind of needed to be here
Yes.
on a
Water,
regular basis, but
the
that's-
bridge thing,
that
all
has
this stuff,
filtered
has
out.
been constantly going on, okay? We're gonna,
Yeah.
this thing's gonna,
Quiet down, hopefully.
I hope.
well, we see that, but it never seems to do it.
Yeah.
Okay? But yes, I agree with you on that, that could be a good way.
Just whatever we can do to,
And maybe even, hopefully, I don't know, Dennis, we just got enough issues here that,
Well, it's up to you. Would it help, do you want me to start sending a report?
a highlight report, you wanna?
I mean, I used to do that, for years I did it, and
Yeah.
I don't remember why, but we sort of stopped doing it, but
I don't
could-
have a problem if you just gave us a
I mean,
highlight.
it was never more than about a page long, it
Yeah.
would be very brief.
Yeah. I'd like,
But
Susan said, action item, I mean, you
Yeah,
turn
I
around.
agree, there's no point in getting a
Okay.
written report in advance if you're gonna sit here and read the whole report.
Right.
that's right.
Okay,
All right.
are we ready to go into
No.
executive
I
session?
got one other thing about the water company. A couple months ago, Ed suggested that he was talking with phone, that they discussed with their water operator, their water person, if he knew of any way or anything out there that we could possibly filter that water before it went into the system, to get the color out of it.
The iron
You know,
and manganese.
the iron and manganese, you know, the fluoride coloring out of it. Maybe we, on Saturday or something, you might want to mention that to them too. See if their water guy, since he's had something to do with Culligan or whatever, if he knows of anything that we can put up there. Now granted, that's not going to do a cotton picking thing for our water storage situation, but if it cleans up the water, that's going to, you know, that would.
It's gonna help a whole lot.
Yeah, that would help a lot. It really would. But it's not gonna give us storage.
No.
That's gonna cost a lot.
How big's those tanks that your brother has?
Probably fours.
Fours.
The issue that I don't like what everybody's doing, and it's the cheaper version, is even Randy turned around and had tanks without bladders in. Okay? I like the idea of the bladders because it makes it a simpler operation. Okay? It makes it nothing but a big household operation. The idea of having dead air all the time is a real pain.
Tell me about it.
But if you take a look, we do have $75,000 budgeted to do some work up there, okay? And maybe I'll get a chance to talk to these guys Saturday a little bit and
Well, maybe we put treatment on with the tanks we got and see how damn long the tanks last.
We definitely have to do something.
Well, either that or we need to get Duncan and Penn Township together, work something out. That's a possibility too.
I mean, it depends on where they put this control valve in. If it's coming right off the well pump and everything else, and there's a flange there, it may be easier to move everything down to that end.
If I understood everything, then last month, whenever they saying they don't have room to put it in the well.
And that's what I'm starting to understand. There may end up having to be a bolt put
There's
in.
no, I was gonna say, there's nothing that says that we can't dig out around and make that pit bigger.
Well,
We
that's an
got a couple
idea.
options to
That's
give
an
them.
idea. That is I didn't think about that. You could probably do that. Because you're gonna need some, if you put treatment equipment in there, you have to have some area for it to be. You wouldn't wanna set it out in the.
I still like the idea of bringing everything up above ground and then just wherever it is, just bring it up through. Put shed up top.
Well, then you gotta heat the building and all that.
Mhm. But it's accessible.
I thought
and
they
it's
were
not-
getting rid of
and
it.
don't forget, if
But
it's
the
in a
rec-
pit, if it's in a pit, it becomes safety
It's
issues.
a closed space,
Yes, you start
or a
getting.
confined space. I should
No,
say.
that's what we got now. So, whatever, one way or the other.
Yeah, no, we're
You
ready.
know.
I closed the door.
We are ready.
All right, Susan. Going into executive session.